time to take that step with UAB Old Mutual.
Yo, pour me cola.
C'est pas Coca-Cola, Alma, Shabda, please.
Pequeño Coca-Cola, una patana vibe, una patana.
Okay, we're back. Ladies and gentlemen, we know that African markets offer vast investment opportunities, and of course this is driven by prospects for the future growth of the continent. And I remember in earlier sessions, there was a comment and mentioned by an attendee or someone in the audience who had said or questioned, why don't we have African brands supporting a platform such as the Global Africa Forum on Communications? And why are we depending on the international brands to support? But in hindsight, or in retrospect, thinking of it, if you have a brand such as Coca-Cola, which has actually taken presence on the continent for a little over 90 years, I think it's only important to say that a brand as huge as Coca-Cola with a cultural integration in Africa, it's as good as saying the brand is African. Right or wrong? I think it's right. So we are happy to invite the Operations Director, Coca-Cola East and Central Africa franchise, Mr. Arthur Miranda.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here again. My purpose this afternoon is to talk to you a little bit about what we do in country branding. And let me give you a little bit of context before we go through the presentation. We are in Africa over 90 years, that's true. But it was not something that started from day one. It was a build-up. Initially we built our first plant. Then we realized, what else can we do here? So we started to take inputs locally. Today, I'm pleased to tell you that all of our concentrates, everything we manufacture as beverage, is actually done here in Africa in our hub in Swaziland. That's where all of our plants for concentrates is, and they supply most of our African markets here in Africa. Not only that, but a lot of the inputs over time, we started to localize. Our preforms for the bottles, our cups on top, even our mango, our pineapple, our dairy products are sourced and grown locally in Africa. Over time we've grown to the point that even today, some of the media houses that work with us are actually African media houses. And we got to the sweet point today where we actually created brands in Africa that now we export to the rest of the world. For example, we have a brand in South Africa called Stony, based in ginger. It's actually called Stony Tagawizi. It's local, but it's available now to be sold across our system in the world. We have Sparletta, another brand of soft drinks, was created in South Africa and is now being expanded in Africa, and it's available throughout the world. We had another one called Appletizer. And Appletizer is a success case. We now sell it in Europe, Asia, Africa, Latin America, and it was created right there in South Africa. So you see what I'm trying to show you, the dynamics. A big company 90 years ago came, and now it's actually his African version that's actually producing local products that's going to sell back to the Western world. And that dynamics and that opportunity of collaboration is something I believe a lot and will help Africa a lot. Because we've learned with them, we've grown as an African organization to the point that now we influence our own company and we have products that we can sell to our own company outside of Africa. And that's really very, very powerful. Recently in Nigeria, we acquired a company called Chivita. We're now expanding the brands Chi and Hollandia of dairy across Africa as well. And it's just to give you a few examples. As a system, we operate as a franchise. When we come, we actually partner with local entrepreneurs to build our bottling operations. If you see our bottling operations in Africa, the shareholders are local. If you see our leadership team here, they're all Africans. And that's what I call about a company becoming African as well as a brand. Now let me tell you how all this evolved to the point that today we actually use the muscle of this brand to actually promote a new agenda for Africa and actually promote countries in Africa. Today I'm going to give you some examples of that. I think the slides can go in now. I believe this is it. There you go. I'm going to show you a selection of our work in this space. First I want to talk to you about a project we had in 2017 called Why the Future is Kenya. Now a lot of you know that in 2017 we had a tough election year. We heard about it here today already. In the midst of all those, what was happening at that time, there was a lot of negative publicity about Kenya that started to come internationally. We all know that the process took a long time. Yes, there was a lot of issues, but Kenya, during the previous 4 years, was growing in the index as a country for easiness of business, a destination for investment. There was a lot of positivity around Kenya. And suddenly, because of this issue, everything bad was being thrown against Kenya. And not just Kenya, as we learned from Tebe this morning, now it generalizes Africa. So as an African organization, we decided, look, this cannot be. We benefit a lot from the fact that other big organizations want to come and invest in Africa. Suppliers, partners, that's very important for us. If they start to have doubts about the continent, about the country, it's not good for us, nor for any other business. So we reach out to other big players, Barclays Bank, Safaricom, the government in Kenya, and others. You will have a chance to see local companies and local entrepreneurs. And we said, how you view this? And everybody on those business leaders believed in Kenya, in Africa, and what we were doing. So we said, then it's time that we use our combined power and we actually bring that message to the world. And that's what we did. So better than my words, let me show you the video that was produced, and then we'll discuss what were the results of this campaign about Kenya. It's a 5-minute video. I ask your attention, but I think we can take a lot of learnings from it. And I've discussed this, and we go for the video. Okay, I'm going to start again. Sorry for that.
Kenyans are go-getters. We are not just consumers. We are creators. We are producers. We are manufacturers.
Kenya gives you one of the biggest markets in the world. It gives you access to East Africa, which is a market of 200 million people. That is the same size as Brazil, larger than Russia, Japan, or Mexico.
This Easter, our store in Two Rivers, Nairobi, was the best performing store, over 750 stores worldwide.
Opportunities aren't only at the top. There is growth for everyone, from the people at the small shops, to our distributors, to our suppliers who provide us with the raw material locally, to the wholesalers, and to our bottling partners. As one of the largest employers here, our business is driven by the Kenyan people, who are highly skilled and focused. Working people you'll ever find.
On Savannah. Over 60% of our population are millennials. They are the first generation to not be afraid of technology. To them, technology is like air. They just want it to work. Our startups are world-class, and our IT infrastructure is #1. Come to Kenya and use the talent here to your advantage to build your business.
Technology has been revolutionizing business in Kenya for quite a while now. Everyone with a phone has the power to grow the economy. And if you take M-Pesa, we are transacting about 10 million transactions every day, moving about $10 million a day.
There are about 1.7 million businesses in Kenya. Almost 99% of those are small and micro enterprises. And so we're building customized solutions to move these businesses forward.
Education plays a major role because when you employ guys who are educated, they understand better, they can train better, and therefore you get perfect partners. And in Kenya, we spend a lot of money in educating our populace.
We are very proud to have the name of the country in the name of the company. So all the good images, all the good feelings is something that we try to take from the country and bring on board. So every time you board the aircraft, you go through the door, you are already in Kenya.
The choices available to people is just immense. With the new roads that have come up all over the country, it just shows that development of real estate has really changed the landscape in Kenya. We have now a new railway coming through, thermal energy, which is a big deal today. Kenya itself as a hub has helped us to grow our business quite impressively.
We have an emerging middle class, a highly bankable population, and a lot of pro-business regulations. The bank has really been part and parcel of the growth of the economy of this country and bringing innovations to our customers in order to facilitate GDP growth, creation of employment, and the bringing of financial services to both individuals and businesses in this country. The level of credit has been growing significantly over the past few years, really showing that credit is available.
We want to make it less expensive for businesses to do business in our country. We had a handful of different types of fees that have now all been collapsed into one, where you pay about $100 for as an all-inclusive fee to register a business within 24 hours.
We have an open door policy for investment, so we encourage investment, we encourage through incentives. And because Kenya has an authentic African safari product, as well as wide sandy beaches at the coast, the combination of these two becomes interesting for investors to think where to go.
There is wealth in our soils. Our fruits and vegetables feed Europe. Kenya is the largest exporter of flowers to Europe. Without Kenya, romance would not be the same in Europe.
It is a very well diversified economy, and that diversification is the single biggest strength that we have, and we want to continue building on that strength.
Would I invest in Kenya again? 10 times over.
Kenya is on the verge of becoming a significant global player.
The African country that currently offers the most potential.
And that is why the future is Kenya.
I hope this has inspired you. This is what, as companies and brands, we can really do for Africa. This video that you saw, I will present a quick one in 2 minutes, just showing you what kind of results it produced. But I can tell you, this video had millions of visualizations. It was put on the Kenyan Air Flight, in-flight videos. It was used by the Kenyan government several times to present the country as a destination for investment hub. And is still used today by the Kenyan officials. And this is what the power of brands and companies coming together can actually do to help our African agenda and position Africa in a different way in the world. But let me show you now some of the results. The initial video seems similar, but then you will see that it will go into what this campaign actually resulted.
Meet these business leaders. Leaders who symbolize success in Kenya.
Kenyans are go-getters. We are creators.
Kenya is definitely Africa's Silicon Savannah.
Kenya has one of the best educated population.
Kenya is ripe for investment.
Who believed in Kenya as it was.
Our business is driven by the Kenyan people.
Everyone with a phone has the power to grow the economy.
Would I invest in Kenya again? 10 times over.
Kenya is on the verge of becoming a significant global player.
Who now tell us where the future is Kenya?
That the current business environment is very dynamic. And I think as a company, we are responding with the same dynamism to this environment.
That's the power of communication. I can tell you that the narrative and the stories by CNN, The Economist, Financial Times were quite different from the ones that Tebe showed us this morning. They were much more positive and much more talking about what matters really in Africa and really driving the right narrative. We were able, together with our partners, to change something that the media was trying to hype in a negative way into a positive. And it's still working process in Kenya. Now, with the learnings of Kenya, we started to think about another country, Ethiopia. Ethiopia, as you know, is a big country, more than 100 million people. Ethiopia has its challenges as well. With the recent political changes, there was a lot of turmoil, a lot of hype in the news about Ethiopia as well, and again, negative news about Ethiopia. As a system, for you to have an idea, we are committed to invest $300 million in Ethiopia over the next 5 years. Now, you can imagine how shareholders get nervous when the news are not positive. So, end of last year, we started to brainstorm with our teams. We had more time than in Kenya. And we started to think, what can we do to help Ethiopia? And as we did with Kenya, how can we put a positive message of Ethiopia? Recently, the new Prime Minister of Ethiopia, in this year, first half of this year, did a big tour across the world where he engaged entrepreneurs from the United States to Europe, investors, trying really to convince the investment community in the world about the opportunity that Ethiopia represents. So we decided to help him and to give him a hand. And after his trip, we came out with something that was just launched a month ago. So you will be the recipients of something very, very early that we just did about country branding. And that's the campaign about Ethiopia. It's a shorter video. We took some learnings from the first one, and we made it more short, but more precise to the point. And see it, and let me know what you think about it.
በጋራ ከሆንን ትልቅ ነገር መስራት እንችላለን። We have the skills, we have the numbers. We are a country of champions. 110 million champions. Ethiopia's population offers more labor and consumer than Germany, France, or the UK.
Ethiopia is the birthplace of coffee. We harvest over 8 million bags of coffee per annum, giving Ethiopia close to $1 billion in coffee exports. Here, coffee is a way of life, a mark of friendship.
The size of the market and consistent growth have enabled investment in people, skills, and technology. The growth of the young educated workforce has further boosted the human resource available.
Ethiopia can become a big international textile hub. With established processes from cotton farming to fabric making and manufacturing, we have the potential to develop a full supply chain in the country.
Ethiopia has an agreement with America and Europe for duty-free exports under AGOA and GSP.
Ultimately, our goal is to provide high-quality apparel made in Ethiopia to the rest of the world, made from farm to fashion.
Addis Ababa is the #1 hub for transfers to and from Africa. We have a 1 million ton cargo capacity. We train up to 4,000 pilots, cabin crew, and aircraft technicians. Ethiopian Airlines is the leading airline in Africa.
Ethiopia attracted fourfold foreign direct investment over the last 5 years. We provide probably one of the cheapest electric powers to investors. So the Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is the biggest dam in Africa. It's expected to generate close to 6,000 megawatts of electricity.
We benefit more than 250,000 people within our entire value chain. We are at the forefront of recycling initiatives. Women and youth are at the very heart of everything we do. We train thousands of entrepreneurs every year. We also provide the largest grassroots platform for developing local football talent, reaching over 2,500 schools annually and local music talent to shine across the continent. This is why we are committed to invest $300 million over the next 5 years. You can build something really special in this country.
In Ethiopia, the best is yet to come.
We've been here for the past 60 years, and we will continue to invest in Ethiopia's future.
My country is a nation of diverse population with harmonious coexistence.
The potential for investment in Ethiopia is great.
If you are thinking big, think Ethiopia.
Can you put the presentation back again? Now, as you can see, some of the results, not only this video is being aired in the sites of all the companies that you saw there, we also had a huge coverage now by NBE, and it's work in process all over. You can find it on YouTube channels. We're still massifying and growing this campaign, which is just about a month old. But you can see now how this is a way and a form that a brand can help to actually to drive our African agenda and tell the world a story. So 90 years ago, we came to this continent, and now we're actually trying to sell this continent to the rest of the world. And that, for me, is speaking for Africa. Okay? You can see that today we already had 108 million potential impressions in 1 month with this campaign. Okay? That's the power that the brand can do behind this driving this agenda. Now, we don't only do countries, we also love the communities where we are. So let me give you 2 examples using football, the soccer, as the Americans say, to actually connect communities and actually drive opportunity for African talent to drive. Some of our African football players, you may not know, started their lives and opportunities in a program, in a grassroots program called Coca-Cola. Can you go back? Yeah, there we go. Coca-Cola. And Coca-Cola is present in most of our African markets today. And we have been doing this country-wise every year for over almost 30 years now. Last year, we decided to do something big. We decided, okay, what can we do more to expose our young African talent to the world of football? And we decided to create the Coca-Cola African Cup. So the idea was to have a competition across Africa. We did, a Pan-African competition. The best teams would come to Kenya, and we would have a final match and see who the winner would be. And we were able to have, as you see there in the chart, 224 football stars involved, 12 African countries. We had over 5 million teenagers clipping for their countries and their teams. And we had a global reach in terms of PR of over $5 million with this program that we built just for grassroots football in every country. It is amazing how such apparently small project we did to help the communities, to create a space for the youth to come, practice sports, connect with the brand, but bring people together, which is what we do, suddenly became an opportunity for exposure of African talent. So again, better than my words, let me show you the video around Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola started in 1989 as a grassroots football program for budding stars in 60 countries across 5 continents. In the last 30 years, 1.3 million teens have participated globally. In 2018, we took it a step further and decided to bring the Coca-Cola winning teams from across the continent together for an African Cup, giving birth to the first ever Coca-Cola Africa Cup. The journey started with winners of respective national tournaments and the most outstanding players being selected to represent their country. The stage was set in Nakuru, Kenya, at the heart of the Great Rift Valley, where from the 10th to the 15th of December 2018, 224 top-flight football talents from 12 African countries were invited by One Dream as they played in the Contest of Titans. The young stars from Uganda, Tanzania, South Africa, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Nigeria, Malawi, Angola, Ethiopia, Mozambique, and of course the host country, Kenya, took part in 22 games as they contested to become the first ever Coca-Cola African champions. After an exciting display of skill and flair, the host Kenya lifted the much-coveted trophies in both the boys' and the girls' titles. And it was so much more than just football. Diverse African cultures converged, mingled, and friendships were made for life. The tournament also sent shockwaves through both traditional and new media, with a total public relations value of over $5 million. The media value was over $3 million, with a total TV reach of 2 million. With fans from all parts of the world following the young stars as they showcase their talent, our Facebook reach skyrocketed to 1.8 million, with 16 million total views. We also had an upsurge on the number of video views on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, which equaled to 200,000. History was made as stars who will live in books of history were being made. So join us in 2019 as we unite dreams and teams from more countries, bringing together more upcoming football stars at the Coca-Cola Africa Cup 2019, the turf where dreams of greatness are born and foundations of a great future are laid.
So the youth, as important as the country, coming together, networking, making new friends, sharing their diversity and their cultures together through football. That's another example of what a brand can actually do to promote our continent and our talent in Africa. Last but not least, I want to share something different with you in the end. Coca-Cola, as I told you, is about bringing people together. So last year, when we had the FIFA World Cup, you know that some of our African countries were qualified, but a lot of them weren't. They were very sad. And people felt a bit distant from the World Cup because their teams or their country was not involved. So as a sponsor of FIFA, we decided to bring the cup to Africa. So we took a world tour of the cup, and we brought it to Africa, and we brought it to all the countries that didn't have the opportunity to have their teams qualified, but they would have the opportunity to have the cup, to see it, and to experience the presence of the cup in their country. That way, we were able to get the people that were somehow alienated from the cup actually to feel part of it and connected, though their team or their country was not able to qualify. And we did this across Africa, and it was another way that we used, a more emotional way, to connect people from Africa to the rest of the world. The World Cup was in Russia, but we were able to connect Africa with Russia through this event across the world. Let me show you what happened, so you have an idea of the sentiment and the influence that this cup has.
Coca-Cola started in 1989 as a grassroots football.
While we wait, let me just tell you a few facts. You know that the trophy... it's coming.
Oh, what a feeling. Look what we've overcome. Oh, I'm gonna wave my flag. And count all the reasons. We are the champions. Ain't no turning back. Saying, oh, can't you taste the feeling? Your country, raise your flag, show your true colors.
And that's it, no more videos. It's over. So I hope this was a good example for you of what a brand and a company can actually do for the communities and the countries it operates in. And I hope this serves as an inspiration for all other companies and entrepreneurs in Africa actually to use part of what they have, of the benefits they get from operating in this continent, to actually promote the continent and help the continent to achieve its goals, to have a different narrative, be respected, and be able to compete equally in the world. This is what we all aim with our agenda in Africa. So I hope this was inspiring enough for you, and it helps you to really think about other ways that you have to contribute for the African agenda. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Arthur. Yes, could you stand while I invite Perez to join Arthur to take a quick photo? Thank you very much. Another round of applause for Arthur Miranda. Thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, while that photo session is going on, I know we've been sitting for a bit too long. And, you know, Arthur did mention something very profound, which is talking about collaboration and, of course, uniting people and bringing everyone together. And that is one thing GAFCON, we're good. Thank you. That is one thing GAFCON 2019 is doing. And I think we can take a cue from Arthur's presentation about uniting and collaborating and engaging with one another. So if I ask you very quickly, within a minute or probably a few seconds, could you move across to a table, maybe 2-3 tables away from you, and shake hands with the people you find there? Very quickly, 5, you know, in less than a minute. That is a good way and a good example to start the collaboration, the discussions, the networking. It's not always over champagne and dinner. It's also at forums like this. So go to 3 tables away from where you're seated and get to interact with the people around you. Absolutely. You never know the magic this will do. Well, my name is Henry Ekechuku. I am the founder, Hughes Valeries. And it's my pleasure to meet you all. Absolutely. Keep going, keep going. We've got 15 more seconds. Absolutely. You just never know what a simple hello